Hey everyone, welcome back to another yoga class. Today I'm going to do a flow that is to help calm anxiety, but it's also to get a little bit of that nervous energy out that sometimes comes along with our anxiety. So we're going to get our bodies moving, we're going to get a little bit of heat in our muscles, but we're going to really focus a lot on grounding and on the energy that grounding and connecting to the earth brings to us, that helps bring down those anxious feelings. So you just need a mat for this. You can grab a pillow or blocks or any other props that you need, and we're going to meet at the top of our mat to start off our class today. So we're going to start in mountain pose. So we're going to have our feet just about hips width apart here, and we're going to really focus on grounding through all of our toes, through our heel for our entire foot. And we're going to take a nice relaxed stance. So a gentle bend in our knees, our hips are centered over our feet, our shoulders rolling back and down, stacked over our hips. And we want to envision an invisible string pulling from the top of our head, lifting us nice and tall. And our hands are just going to rest down by our sides. So let's take a few moments here to connect with our breath. So nice deep breaths. And maybe in the beginning of this practice, closing our eyes and taking a moment to connect in to where our breath falls naturally. Just taking a few moments here, observing our breath. Maybe placing one hand on our chest and one hand on our belly. And just taking some time noticing where that breath falls naturally in our body. So first we want to notice, are we more breathing in through our chest, or are we taking a deep breath that's expanding through our bellies? And we want to begin to focus in on the length of our inhale and the length of our exhale. When we're anxious, we tend to be breathing more into our chest and taking really deep inhales and short exhales, or we have really short, erratic breaths. So if we notice that, now we want to take a moment to start self-correcting our breathing. We want to take a deep breath in as we inhale, expanding deep down through our bellies, feeling our bellies expand against our hand, expanding open through our rib cage, the front, the back, the sides, and expanding open through our heart center, lifting tall in that inhale. And as we exhale, feeling that belly button drawing to our spine, feeling those ribs as they come down from that inhale. And again, inhaling nice and deep, expanding through our belly, our ribs, our chest, lifting tall. And as we exhale, relaxing through our bodies. We can leave our hands here. That helps us to check in with our breath, or bring them down to our sides now. If our hands are at our sides, just feeling them nice and loose, maybe moving our arms around a little to shake out any tension we're carrying in our shoulders. And continuing with our breath, focusing on our breath. If it feels comfortable, we can start to count our breath. We want to count how long our inhale is, and let's try to inhale for the count of 3. And just to start relaxing, let's exhale for the count of 4. So trying to keep that exhale a little bit longer than our inhale. Finding our own perfect pace here, our own perfect breath. We don't have to use those same counts, but just trying to focus in on that awareness with our breath. I'm going to try breathing in through our nose and out through our mouth. And just taking that time. Awareness of counting our breaths. We'll continue being aware of our breath here. Let's begin to set an intention for our class today, so we can bring our hands to heart center if it feels comfortable with us. And setting an intention and awareness for our practice. So maybe we're showing up today and we want to be able to practice more gratitude for our lives. Maybe we're showing up with the intention of calming down and slowing down, being intentional with our living today. Maybe we just want to be a little bit kinder to ourselves, a little bit gentler, focusing in on self-compassion. whatever that intention is, we're going to inhale to seal that within our hearts. And exhale, release it to the energy around us. Beautiful. We're going to begin to build a little bit of heat here, so we're going to do a little bit of flowing motions. So whatever feels good for you, if you need to take any breaks or modifications, definitely do that. So we are going to meet at the front of our mats. I'm just going to reposition the camera so you can see me a little bit better. So good job, everyone. So we're going to meet right up here at the front of our mat with our feet a little bit closer than hips distance apart. We're going to take a nice deep breath in, reaching our arms up overhead, lengthening, extending up through our fingers. And at the same time, grounding through our feet, feeling that connection with the earth. Nice deep inhale, reaching up. As we exhale, hands come to heart center. Relaxing down, reaching down towards the ground, shaking out those arms, maybe moving our legs. Again, just waking up that energy in our body. Inhale, reaching up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart center, coming down. Inhale, reaching, circle, sweeping those arms up. And exhale, hands to heart center, coming back down. Let's do a few more of these nice deep breaths. Moving through one breath, one movement. Just waking up this energy through our arms. Breathing that energy down to our heart center. Inhaling and exhaling. And the whole time we're keeping our feet active as they connect to the earth. Grounding down with that energy, drawing strength up through the earth, feeling the roots connecting energetically through our feet into the ground beneath us. One last time, inhaling, reaching up the whole way up. We can leave our arms up here, or we can bring them to heart center if our arms get tired. And we're going to do a little experiment here, coming up on our tippy toes, as high as it feels comfortable. Really being aware, grounding through all 5 toes on each foot. If we feel a little wobbly here, that's fine. We're just waking up those nerve sensors and receptors in our feet and lowering back down. Beautiful. And we're going to take a moment here and lift our toes. Just feeling that sensation of how does our foot feel grounding into the mat when we're lifting through our toes and lowering our toes back down. Beautiful. Keeping that awareness of our feet fully planted on the mat throughout our practice. We're going to inhale our arms up. Exhale, heart center. Inhale our arms up. This time as we exhale, we're going to come into chair pose. So we are sitting back as if there's a chair behind us, bending through our knees, hinging at our hips, keeping our chest lifted. Inhale, reaching up. And exhale into chair. Inhale, reaching up. And exhaling into chair. A few more of these at our own pace. Matching our breath with our movement, building some heat in our legs. Continuing to feel that energy building, drawing that energy and stability from the earth, reaching up towards the sky, and harnessing that energy down into our hearts. And on our next exhale, let's take a moment to hold here in chair pose. Building that heat in our legs, keeping our hands here if it feels good. Maybe extending our arms out in front of us, even bringing our hands down to our thighs for a little extra support. We're going to hold here for a few breaths, maybe closing our eyes, focusing in on that sensation, building heat, building strength, releasing any energy or tension that's been caught up in our bodies today. Inhale, release, reaching up to the sky. And exhale, back down to center. Taking a few deep breaths here. Really allowing ourselves to feel embodied with that breath. Feeling our hearts pumping, bringing life, oxygen and energy to all the cells in our body. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, swan diving, hinging at the hips, slight bend in the knees, reaching down towards the ground, maybe placing our hands on our legs or on a block if we need them, And allowing our heads to hang down here, forward fold. Just coming to whatever expression feels comfortable. Nice deep breaths here. Feeling a release in the back of our legs. Nice deep breath here, maybe even swaying, rocking back and forth gently if it feels good. Inhale up to flat back. Exhaling, forward fold. Bending our knees, placing our hands on our mat. We're going to step back to a plank position or a kneeling plank position, whatever feels good for us today. Nice deep breath here. And we'll push back to our child's pose. A few nice deep breaths in our child's pose. All right, so we're taking a few nice deep breaths in our child's pose here. If we're uncomfortable in the full expression of child's pose, we can sit on a pillow so it's not as much pressure on our knees, or we can place a pillow in front of us to rest our belly or our chest or our head, and just relaxing into the pose here. I want to take a few nice deep breaths here and feel that release through our lower back. Lengthening and stretching. If this has any undue stress on our arms, we can always leave our arms back by our sides as well. So a few deep breaths here in child's pose. While we're in our child's pose, I want you to envision your forehead connecting with the pillow, the block, or the mat, and allowing that energy of the earth connecting with our forehead to ground us, to calm any anxious or racing thoughts, letting any anxiety or tension sink away into the floor, into the earth, feeling very nourished and supported by the earth in this pose. On our next inhale, we're going to shift forward to our kneeling plank. As we exhale, slowly lowering down, Chaturanga. Inhale, coming just up to Cobra. So lifting through our chest, letting our heart shine forward. Maybe gently pressing away from the floor with our hands, lengthening through our neck. We want a little extra challenge to strengthen through our lower back and activate those core and back muscles. We can lift our hands off the floor. Inhaling deep. Exhale, let's push back through our kneeling plank into our child's pose. And let's flow here a few times. Inhale, kneeling plank. Exhale, lowering down. Inhaling, cobra. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, kneeling plank. Exhaling, child's pose. And at our own pace, with one breath for each movement, flowing through the sequence, taking breaks when we need to, but allowing these movements to wake up and energize through our body, building that heat, but staying very grounded and rooted in the earth, feeling that connection to the earth's energy as it helps to balance out our nervous system, using our breath to regulate our emotions, feel a little bit calmer once we get into our breath work here, waking up parts of our body that usually are dormant. Go through one more flow here. When we're ready, we'll meet back in child's pose. Again, we'll hold in child's pose for a few deep breaths. And while we're here in child's pose, it might feel good to stretch through our arms and shoulders a little bit more. So in our child's pose, we can walk our hands over to the right side. And then maybe over to the left. Back to center. up to all fours. And we can take a moment to sit back on our heels. Sit up nice and tall. Beautiful. And let's just take a moment to ground here, rolling our shoulders back and down, sitting up tall, focusing in on our breath. Just grounding our fingertips to the floor. Visualizing red light and energy traveling up from the earth through our fingertips as we inhale, drawing that energy in through our arms. That energy comes into our heart center. And as we exhale, it radiates through our body. Inhaling that red light, grounding us, the light of our root chakra. The color of that energy of groundedness as it travels through our bodies, nurturing us, helping us to feel calm and safe. Continuing to feel those fingertips grounding us. Deep breaths here. And when we're ready, walking our hands forward, coming back to our child's pose. Inhaling up to all fours. Exhaling, we're going to come back to our downward dog. So tucking our toes, lifting our hips. Lifting through our hips, pushing into our heels. Feeling that nice stretch in the backs of our legs. Beginning maybe to pedal our feet here. And lowering back down to all fours. Beautiful. We're going to come into our cat-cow pose. So we're going to begin to work our breath while also moving through our spine, waking up any energy in our spine that might feel stuck. A nice deep inhale, dropping through our bellies, lifting through our head and our hips, shining our heart forward. Exhale, rounding our spine, letting our heads hang down, tucking our tailbone. Inhale, arching our back, dropping through our bellies. Deep breath. And exhale, rounding vertebrae by vertebrae, finding range of motion through our upper, mid, and lower back. Again, moving with our breath, however we feel comfortable here. Just waking up that energy. You might notice any points that feel a little stuck or stagnant. You can even rock back and forth from time to time if we need to. Maybe take an extra breath or two in those special areas that need our love and compassion today. You don't want to force any movements, but maybe breathe a little extra love to those spaces in our body. If we have any pain in our wrists, we can always do our fists on the ground. If that doesn't feel comfortable, you can also roll the top of your mat and place your hands over the bent part of the mat to relieve a little bit of that pressure on your wrist. A few more deep breaths here. Ready? Coming back to center to all fours. We're going to come into our spinal balance here. So, if it feels comfortable for us, grounding through that left hand and the right knee, extending the left leg back. And at first, this might be enough of a challenge, and that's fine. If you want to challenge your balance a little more, reaching the opposite arm, the right arm forward. Holding here, pulling our belly button to our spine. For strength through our core, envisioning energy, shining forward from our fingers and back through our toes. Lowering down, changing sides, reaching back with that right leg. If that's enough, that's great. If not, left hand reaches forward. Deep breaths, envisioning our energy. supporting through our core. Let's take a moment here and let's flow a few times with our breath. Inhale, reach. Exhale, lower. Inhale to reach. Exhale to lower. Going at our own perfect pace. Whatever feels right for our body today. Nice, long, strong back. Strong core. One more on each side. And when we're ready, pushing back to our child's pose. And a few deep breaths here, really releasing into the stretch. We're ready, let's push back up to all fours. We're going to come into a lunge here, a modified lunge, stepping our right foot between our hands. And we're just going to hold here in a kneeling runner's lunge. So this might feel really comfortable for us. If we want, we can tuck the back toe, lift that back leg. It gives us a little bit more of a stretch in our hip flexor here, wherever we feel comfortable. Nice deep breaths here. I'm gonna lower that back knee down for myself for a couple breaths. It just feels a little more comfortable for me today. It's wherever you're at in your practice. If you want, you could bring both hands to the inside of that front leg now, opening up through that hip, allowing some more motion there, and just taking a few deep breaths. Either holding right here, or maybe lowering down to our elbows. Deep, slow breaths, opening up, stretching through the hip flexor. We carry a lot of stress and tension in our hips. Grounding through the floor, breathing deeply, envisioning that light traveling through our body. Slowly coming back up. Hands to either side of that front foot. We're going to straighten out our front leg. Walk the hands back, toes up towards the sky here. This might be enough of a stretch. Maybe we need to have a block or a pillow to be a little bit higher up here. We can also take the stretch a little bit further as long as we keep a nice flat back, hinging at our hips, not slouching forward. We can walk the hands forward with a flat back, just to deepen that stretch through our hamstring, through our leg, and taking a few deep breaths here. Walking our hands, bending our knee, framing our foot. When we're ready, bringing that leg back to all fours. Taking a moment here to reposition, and we will switch legs. Left leg steps forward here. Hands are framing that foot. Let's take a moment here in our lunge and just check in with our bodies. Do we feel good in this pose? Do we want to tuck the back toes and lift that leg? Get a little more of a sensation here. Holding. Breathing deep no matter where we are in our practice today. Maybe taking a moment to come back to our intention that we set. Are we being mindful of that intention throughout our practice? Being compassionate with ourselves and where we are. Bringing both hands to the inside of that front leg, and again, allowing some openness in that hip. We can hold here, or we can come down onto a block or onto our elbows. Taking a few deep breaths here on this side, opening up that hip flexor. Envisioning through that stress that any tension or anxiety we're carrying is just completely evaporating from our bodies. With every inhale, we're building our resilience. With every exhale, we're releasing tension, stress, and anxiety. And when we're ready, coming back up, framing out the front leg. We're going to lengthen that front leg, toes pointing up, coming back to wherever we can comfortably have a straight and flat back. Again, using maybe blocks or pillows under our hands if that's comfortable for us. Just lowering down here, hinging at our hip, and coming to wherever we need to feel that deep stretch through that front leg. Letting our heart shine down towards our foot, visualizing that connection of our energy. And a few deep breaths here. Slowly walking those hands forward, framing the foot, and we can step that leg back, coming to all fours, and then settling back into our child's pose once more. Nice deep breaths here. We're going to have the option here in child's pose to hold the child's pose if it feels good for us, or we're going to take the option to do thread the needle. So this is really good for our shoulders. It opens up through our chest, so see what feels comfortable today. So if we're going to do thread the needle, coming into our child's pose, relaxing down, and when we feel comfortable, gonna reach that left arm up towards the sky. And we're gonna thread that arm like a needle underneath our right arm, twisting over, reaching that arm, and resting our left shoulder on the ground. Taking nice deep breaths in this twist. Holding the twist on this side and envisioning as we're in that twist, our breath cleansing through the twist. When we're breathing in a deep twist, we're allowing our body to explore different areas where maybe our energy is stored or blocked, really just surrendering into that with some deep breaths on this side. Slowly coming back to center and switching sides. Right arm reaches up towards the sky. And then threading the needle. Right hand comes through and under the left arm. Dropping that right shoulder to the mat. Reaching with that arm. And resting the side of our head on the mat. Breathing and feeling the energy of our breath through the twist. Slowly coming back to center. One more nice, comfortable child's pose. Finding that balance and equilibrium. Reaching those hands forward if it feels good. Grounding our forehead on the floor for that connection to the earth. Come back up to all fours and come coming into a comfortable seated position. So taking a moment here, cross our legs one in front of the other, sit up nice and tall, roll our shoulders back and down. Take a moment to stretch through our neck, dropping our left ear to our left shoulder, rolling our chin to our chest, loving our right ear towards our right shoulder. And again, maybe rolling, taking some time on either side, remembering our breath. When we're ready, bringing our head back to center. We're going to keep a nice tall spine. We're going to walk those hands forward here. Feeling a nice release in the back of our hips, lower back. We'll take 4 deep breaths on this side. Maybe sinking a little lower with those last deep breaths on this side. Slowly coming back up. And just switching feet. So opposite foot comes to the front. It's a very small adjustment, but it changes where we're getting that stretch in the back of our hips. So nice deep breath, lengthen. And as we exhale, folding forward here. 4 deep breaths on this side. Coming lower if it feels good. Coming back up to center. Beautiful. Finding a comfortable seated position. I'm going to take a moment here. We can rest our hands on our knees for support if it feels good, or bring our hands to heart center. We're going to meet back in that awareness of our breath, coming back to the intention that we set for ourselves in the beginning of our class. Breathing that light that we've cultivated through our body. Maybe now visualizing that light turning a bright white. A light of cleansing and protection and healing. A light that drives out any darkness within us. Every inhale, that light grows brighter. Every exhale, we're reminded of our intention that we set for ourselves. Maybe for compassion, gratitude, acceptance. Let's take a few breaths here, just meditating on maybe one word that sums up our intention today. Feeling that word, the meaning of it, resonate through our body and our mind and our soul. And taking a moment to honor each other. Thank you for showing up for your practice today. It was an honor teaching you and guiding you through your practice. I hope that it brought some peace and joy to your day. Inhaling our hands up to our third eye. May I think with compassion, gratitude, and peace. Bringing our hands down to our lips, near our throat chakra. May I speak the truth with kindness and non-judgment. And bring our hands down to heart center. May I honor myself and others with compassion, respect, wisdom, and love. And bowing towards each other, namaste. The goodness and light within me honors the goodness and light within you. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day and a wonderful rest of your week.